Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Hey, welcome back, everyone.
Joe here.
Kevin.
We are really in the middle of something here at the West Wing.
Yeah,
We're wrapping up season two.
we've seen like the writing's been good
Yeah,
from day one, opening shot one, and that first walk and talk in the pilot, right?
yeah,
But I feel like Sorkin, because he's a friggin' genius, has been playing structurally with the writing so much more. Because we had the brilliant Noel episode, right?
yes,
It was kind of like unreliable narrator, reverse engineered noir a
yeah,
little bit.
very much so.
And then with the last one with the Stackhouse filibuster, we had a frame story, right, where different character we're getting the story kind of told to us
Yes,
through
sir.
letters written to to CJ's father, but then it goes to the other fathers as well, right?
Yeah,
We have Josh and Sam's father, I believe.
yeah. God,
All three of them,
was it
right?
Sam's? Or, I'm sorry, was it Josh's mom?
Josh's mom, right? Because
Because
Josh's
Josh's dad
dad's dead,
passed
right?
away. Yeah,
Forgot about that.
yeah,
But yeah, but letters to their parents, right?
yeah.
And so we're kind of getting because it was a complex story, right? Explaining the filibuster and how it was being used at this time
Very
and
much
everything.
so. Yeah.
And so you kind of had um, the replacement of the Donna explaining, we always have like Donna's like us in the show, and like
Yeah.
Josh explains some of these complex things to her while Donna asks the questions.
Mhm.
This time we kind of change it up to where it's like, hey, parent, let me explain to you what's happening here.
So
Brilliant
a
structurally.
lot of a lot of this, the last few episodes we've watched, I want to say the last five,
Mhm.
maybe 4 or 5 episodes, have kind of been parent
A
episodes.
lot of it very focused, like Sam's dad's having an
Sam's
affair and
dad's having an
everything. Yeah,
affair. You had Bartlett with his other daughter.
right. Ellie,
Mhm.
no, wasn't it Ellie? Yeah, it was Ellie.
That was the name of the
Name of the
episode. Yeah,
episode, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And then obviously now we have that last episode where they're talking about their parents, and even Sam's kind of resolving his
Right.
father's
His father's death.
discrepancies
Oh,
with
I'm
him.
sorry.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Josh.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
a lot of interesting stuff at play there. Also, I mean, since the Noel episode, they've really been switching up the format of the.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
They're
for
playing
sure.
with it, like
Yeah,
which is good because you don't want your show to get stale,
right.
right? And I talked about it on Patreon with some of you guys. Um, the breathers. So Sorkin is really good, not only at like writing the show, obviously, but structuring
Mhm.
how each episode comes out. When to give us a breather, when not to give us a breather.
Brilliant at it. We get we get
Yeah,
we get moments of levity even in some of the darkest episodes.
some of the darkest episodes have really funny moments.
Right, for sure.
But I liked, like, I think in season one there was a couple episodes back to back to back that were just kind of heavy.
Right.
And then you back off, you give us a light episode, and
Right
this
after the
seems to be,
Christmas one, that
yeah.
first that first Christmas episode that just brutalized
Yeah,
us, and then we had a light episode right after that.
and this season has definitely been much more back and forth, back and forth,
Sure.
back and forth. But a lot of you guys have indicated to us that I think somebody was like, put your seatbelts on. Now they're like, put the helmet on because the
Right.
next few episodes, I guess, are gonna go pretty crazy.
I'm here
So
for it.
I'm really, really ready for it as well. And a lot of you guys said also with the filibuster, we said that the reason he was doing the Stackhouse was doing the filibuster is because of his grandson.
That's certainly what I felt like they were leaning into.
I think that plays into it. A lot of you guys seem to think that like that wasn't the main reason why he does feel for children with autism.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, anybody would. But I think that was the tipping point for him to be like, nah, I'm gonna go up here and risk my health
Right.
to bring attention to this issue. And I liked how they resolved that
Yeah,
whole
I mean,
episode.
and I don't think it's a slight on Stackhouse
No, not at
that
all.
he had a personal connection to it.
Yeah,
But I mean, look, it's 2023 now. That episode was what, 2001
probably
ish,
2000.
2000,
Yeah,
2001, depending when it was probably recorded in 2000.
yeah.
Um, and autism, there was very little understanding of it. I feel like in the general public. And
Mhm.
so awareness and like need for research and stuff, I don't think it was that much at the forefront. Honest to God, I feel like what most people knew about autism back then was what they learned from Rain Man, and Rain
Yeah.
Man is absolutely not
No,
a realistic representation of autism.
that's one of my hot takes is that I'm not a big fan of that
I'm
movie.
not a big fan of that movie either, because how many people now think that if you're autistic, it means you're a little weird, but you're a genius in some other area,
Yeah.
and that's not really what it is. It's an inability to make those to recognize social connections and make social connections outside yourself.
If
And,
there's
and I'm explaining it, and even I'm oversimplifying it. There's so much to it.
there's not really an accurate representation of it in film and TV. If there is, let us know. But like you said, Rain Man, like the accountant.
Right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, so like I feel like in those movies, Rain Man especially, he's really overcooking it.
Right. Wasn't there a Netflix show with a teenage boy who was on the spectrum, and I cannot remember what it was called. I'm sorry.
I
I
can't
watched a few
either.
episodes, and it seemed like a more realistic portrayal. But let me know.
It's so complex. I
It
mean, like
is. It's a tough issue, and I'm certainly not an expert either. But the
I
point,
think The Good Doctor is one of those shows. I've never seen it
maybe
though.
right.
I don't know.
But at any rate, the point I was trying to make
Yeah,
is I feel like the awareness wasn't there of what it really is now. So I feel like at the time you're making the show, it's kind of like, hey guys, for you in the audience, this is a serious issue that we're
Yep.
not dealing with or addressing in any way. I mean, we have morons in the world even now who think that if you give your kids their vaccines, they're going to catch autism,
Yeah.
which is obviously there's no medical proof of that unless you believe everything you read on dark edges of the internet. So there's still a lot of like misconceptions about it.
Sure.
Um,
It's something that we probably don't have a full grasp on, but
no, well, there's still. I mean, let's be honest. There's still not a consensus on what's actually causing
sure.
or why it happens or why the rates of it are increasing. But spoiler alert, they're pretty sure it's not the vaccines. Do you want to welcome some new Patreon subscribers for the weekend, guys? So Margot M, Lisa Young, Bertie Wools, uh, Amber Candelaria, Matt Ilar, Ben Clifford, and Jesse. Thank you so much, guys, and welcome. We really, really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, and if you guys are watching this on YouTube for the first time, welcome to our channel.
Hello.
If you don't mind hitting that like button for us, leave us a comment down below, and please, please, please hit the subscribe button so you can stay updated with all of our new content we've coming your way.
Absolutely, really appreciate it. If you'd like to see the full-length reaction to this episode, then all the other episodes of The West Wing, plus everything else we've watched or are watching, please check out the link in the description below to our Patreon page. We've got the catalog of everything there.
If you're looking for a nice pairing with the show, check out Succession. I would also recommend Mad Men.
Cannot say enough good things about Mad Men.
Fantastic.
We'll save that for when we actually record Mad Men. 17 people.
So he's still
Toby's figuring out what's
The
going
Hoynes
on with the
thing.
with the re-election and the Hoynes thing.
because he's got something to play.
Toby's not stupid.
No,
I love this. I love
Well,
showing him just
he
thinking
wants
it
to
through.
run again. He wants to run. That's got to be his end game, right? Hoynes wants to run for president.
Clear. It looks like Hoynes is planning on running in the next election cycle, and so Toby's trying to figure out what that means.
2 nights after that, it's like he's still really thinking about it. Wow.
Right?
I've been thinking about why Hoynes volunteered to slap down Big
Yeah.
Oil.
What was his
Yeah.
polling information?
Has there been a discussion in some room, someplace, anywhere on any level about Hoynes being dropped from the ticket?
Oh, Toby, I wouldn't give it a lot of thought.
Okay.
And that's the other thing that's holding him back is he's getting stonewalled by Leo
Yeah.
here, and probably everyone else.
Yeah, they're really dragging this out. They're like,
I love it.
Yeah, no,
I
that's
love
good.
I love the pacing of it.
Hey,
He's waiting for him in his office. He figured it out.
Scared the hell out of me. No,
Vice President would never challenge a sitting president for the nomination.
of course not. Keep tabs on
Giving
John.
a speech at a semiconductor plant. The title of the speech is Clean Air Industry in the High-Tech Corridor of the Industrial Northeast, New Hampshire.
Oh, maybe Leo doesn't know that Hoynes
I
is.
guess not. Yeah, look.
Going to New Hampshire for the reason you're thinking he would mask it with something.
Comes in the middle of a 3-day camping trip to Killington. Why does Hoynes
He did
think the
mask it.
president isn't going to run again?
Yeah, there you go. I thought Leo was stonewalling. He didn't know either
You think Leo tells him?
about the MS. They're gonna have to, right?
Mr. President, I've got Toby waiting in his office right now.
Why?
We've got to tell him. Now he's camping in Killington, Vermont with a quick stop in
Come
New
on.
Hampshire, and Toby's not an idiot.
Yeah, there it is.
I think you got to see this as an opportunity
To do what?
to gauge reaction.
You think staff's reaction will be what?
I don't know. Shock. Betrayal. Confusion.
That's weird because he and Toby
Yes, sir.
have always had a bit of a headbutting relationship too.
They have.
Is this going to get ugly?
I can see them having words for sure.
I don't expect it to go completely smoothly.
No.
Now it starts.
Because Toby's always judged him pretty harshly on his
This is the.
steps.
We're getting close to the end of this first.
They forgot to bring the funny.
Yeah.
How much time do we have?
I want to show it to him within the hour.
Is this supposed to be the correspondence dinner or president's remarks or something?
Sam and I are going to stay and punch up some of the jokes for the correspondence dinner. Yeah, I read it. They forgot the funny. Yeah.
Started working for you in February. This is April, and you're an idiot.
Well, you started working for me once in February, and then you stopped for a while.
Yes.
Then you started working for me again in April.
Oh, shut up! Honest to God, do you ever get tired of the sound of your own voice?
No.
Something like 40% of all women oppose the ERA, and in my entire life, I've never met one of them.
Izzy Hayes, nice to meet you.
We're going back to
Right,
Smith
FBI
College,
shirt.
the cradle of feminism, to argue in opposition to the Equal Rights Amendment?
And get some decent pizza, yeah.
You want to help me or not?
I need to do this.
We've ordered Chinese food.
Okay.
You want a drink?
No, thank you, sir. I'm fine.
Have a drink with me.
Sure.
Bourbon what? To be called bourbon, it has to come from Kentucky. Otherwise,
Yes,
it's
people
called
that
sour
argue
We
about
talked
this.
about
Yeah,
this,
I have a relapsing remitting course of MS.
I like how you just told him directly
Yeah.
there without sugarcoating.
Straight out.
Yeah.
I have multiple sclerosis, Toby.
Oh man.
Maybe this won't go as badly as I thought.
Does relapsing
Ever turn into secondary progressive?
Yeah.
Sure.
This has thus far been a great episode for
Yeah.
Richard Schiff,
I'd like
performance-wise.
to stand up. Can I stand?
Yeah.
I expect I'll be stuck here tonight with my fair share of verbal harpoons. I don't mind, just don't stick me with the dinner check.
That's terrible.
Yes,
That's
terrible.
terrible.
2 nights before the State of the Union, he had an attack. Yeah.
Thought he had the flu or something too.
I thought it was the flu.
Yeah,
Okay,
he
okay,
did.
yeah.
That was when.
First of all, who else knows?
You're the 16th person. And in the meantime, you'll take what I give
It's
you.
not entirely your business.
Okay, this is gonna get ugly.
First lady,
No.
it's in remission. Nobody lied.
Nobody lied?
Nobody.
Nobody lied? Oh, a deception of massive proportion? I can't even...
Nobody lied. Nobody was asked to lie.
What are you guys talking about?
It's a great shot.
It's a fantastic shot. Also, I like how they had George Washington behind him.
Yeah.
What could possibly be your problem with the ERA?
It's
Why are
redundant.
we talking about the ERA?
She's doing a thing.
I can't believe the staff
Fine.
themselves is trying to write
Toby's gonna
jokes for
come
the
in here and nail it.
correspondence
This is his
dinner.
thing.
It'd be like us trying to do it.
Yeah,
like,
right.
yeah.
Mrs. Bartlett might not be there. Leo said you had an attack last year.
Yeah,
You were in the Situation Room as Commander-in-Chief.
I know. I can't believe we're all still here.
Do you receive medication?
I get injections of beta-seron.
From whom? Is your wife medicating you?
Best while temperatures are running a little high. That you refer to my wife as Mrs. Bartlett or the First Lady.
And I kind of see where Toby's coming from. a
I
little
do.
bit. Yeah.
And I can see why Bartlett's being defensive about
Yep.
it.
She is a doctor, but at the same time,
It's
people need to know.
Well, by using her, it's intentionally deceptive.
Yes.
You're
yes,
not
yes,
telling
yes.
your doctor because you're trying
In
to
a
hide it
way,
from
they
people.
were lying. for
Right?
sure,
Yeah. No, for sure. You use your wife to do it so you can lie without lying.
Vice President was elected. He has the constitutional authority to assume my
Not
office.
last May. He didn't. He didn't last May when you were under general anesthesia.
'cause I-
There was uncertainty as to who was giving the national security orders, and it was because you never signed a letter. Why there isn't simply a signed letter sitting in
That's
a file
fair too.
someplace, and somebody would ask why.
Yeah, it is a cover-up. It is a
Commander-in-Chief had just been
deception. Yeah.
attacked. An F-117 was shot down
Yeah.
in the no-fly.
Yeah, all that
and the
happened.
Vice President's authority was murky at best. I wasn't in the Situation Room that night, but I'll bet all the money in my pockets that it was Leo, who no one elected.
It was Leo, actually.
It was Leo.
Hoynes just deferred to him.
Yep.
I feel fine, by the way. Thanks for asking.
Sir.
No, Leo. Toby's concern for my health is moving me in ways.
Mr. President,
Are you pissed because I didn't say anything, or are you pissed because there were 15 people who knew before you did?
Well, Leo knows now, like, this is not going to go. That's the faces. It's not going to go when anybody finds out.
Yeah.
Toby was the test, and they failed it.
Do you have any idea how much grief I took from him when I came back?
How much?
None. I walked in the door, he said, "Thank God, there's a pile of stuff on the desk."
Nurse, they don't choose to make less money. They're financially punished for having kids.
They made a choice to have kids.
Well, not necessarily if you guys have your way.
That's funny.
we stood in that office a couple of months ago, you and I, and you said, "Take my hand." We just...
Yeah, he did. We just formed a committee to re-elect the president.
Yep.
Leo Hoynes left breadcrumbs. He wanted me to find out a camping trip to
That
Killington.
was a jackass move.
7.5 months of the Iowa caucus, and no one's been told the president might not be the nominee.
He's gonna run.
There's going to be hearing upon hearing upon
Yeah.
hearing.
He hasn't
That's
broken
true.
a law.
And you don't have to break the law to get served with articles of impeachment.
Yeah.
Because
something it
it's
says.
humiliating. A new amendment we vote on declaring that I am equal under the law to a man. The same Article 14 that protects you protects me, and I went to law school just to make sure.
I could have countered that, but I'd already moved on to other things in my head.
I'm going to start using
Nice.
that.
Yeah.
I could have had a comeback there, but I've moved on to other things in my head.
I was actually in a car accident.
You're in a car accident?
It was
Seriously, you were in an accident?
It was no big deal. Anyway, they took me to the hospital, and I called him, and he came down to get me. And on the way, he stopped and met some friends of his for a beer.
I gotta make it quick, guys. Go down to the
I
hospital
wouldn't
after
Group
this.
was in the hospital. Yeah.
Get one more for the
If
road.
you were in an accident, I wouldn't stop for red lights.
Oh my God, that's so scary.
I have no intention of apologizing to you, Toby.
Would you mind if I ask why not?
Because you're not the one with MS or wife, 3 kids.
Appear to many, if not most, as fraud.
It will.
Will appear as if you denied the voters an opportunity to decide for themselves. It's 17 people, by the way.
I'm sorry?
You knew.
It may have been unbelievably stupid. I'm sorry, I really am.
Oh.
You want
Oh my God, he's got to sit there under that black cloud and listen to these guys make jokes.
The president says, I know times are tough. The NASDAQ just filed.
Comparing
Tell me
the
if you
two.
think this is funny.
Oh,
Godfather shot.
man, that is the Godfather shot. That was great.
That was a great
amazing.
episode.
That might be the best closing shot of the whole series so far.
It was really good.
Okay, so I think in terms of like episode structure this season, I think this is probably the second best episode.
After the Christmas,
Noel,
after
yeah.
Noel, yeah.
Which, let's face it, guys, Noel's the best of the season so far.
Noel's a phenomenal episode of television.
It's incredible. This is pretty darn close to it. I loved all the camera work. I loved how it was essentially
really good camera work, wasn't it?
Essentially a bottle episode.
Yeah,
it
was.
Takes place in the same location. You don't see all the cast.
You get basically 2 rooms, right?
2 rooms,
yeah, for the most part.
And I mean the correspondence dinners is pretty not. It's not that big of a deal.
It's
really.
not. I mean, Trump didn't even go to go to them because he didn't want it to be made fun of by the comedians.
I know.
He's very, very thick-skinned, man. He's very tough.
That's true. I didn't even think about that.
That's why he didn't go. Yeah.
But no, it really shows like a problem versus a real problem. You know what I mean?
No, oh, for sure. Like, like, oh no, we've got to fix this really meaningless thing that's going to play on C-SPAN.
Yeah.
Versus, oh, we've got a
Are we out of a
serious
job?
issue.
Exactly.
Is
the nation being lied to?
Right. We're about to drop a bombshell on the nation. Yeah.
And I liked a lot of the symbolism in the episode, like the whole George Washington picture behind Bartlett at the beginning, because we didn't really see the portrait after that.
No.
So I liked how they had that framed. Obviously, it was intentional.
And the shot right after that, where you're behind Toby's head, and it's splitting Leo and the president there on both sides of him.
Yeah, and I love that Leo is like a ride or die for Bartlett. He's like, no, this is my guy. I'm here for him.
Yeah, for sure.
Like whatever he wants to do, we're doing it.
It was just the idea of this episode is great. It's like, how do we get MS out there? Because it's going to be obviously for the plot moving forward. It's going to be important, right?
Well,
and then so it's like, how about an episode where Toby is the one who's the most adversarial to the president on the staff, that he finds out, and they have to have this conversation.
Put him in a moral dilemma.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like I said, Toby's a patriot. I think that if Bartlett does not release this information, Toby might feel inclined to.
Yeah, I don't think it'll come to that.
I don't think it'll come to that. I think Bartlett will make the right decision.
I feel like Leo's telling him like it's time to tell people. You know what I mean? I think
Bartlett even said it.
Yeah,
it's time.
It's time.
It
everyone's going to know now. Again, Toby was just the test to see to gauge how are people going to react.
Yeah.
So you take the guy that's butted heads with the president more than anybody on the staff and ask him. And now you can kind of see like that was not easy. And it was a great test for Bartlett because he did not react well to Toby's line of questioning
not at first.
At all.
No.
So you could see Leo kind of freaking out when the conversation was happening. He's like, this is how it's going to be. People are going to be asking, are you a liar? What didn't you tell us? All the stuff Toby's asking. Who's in charge when you're under anesthesia? Who did you tell? Who didn't? Why is your wife?
Fair.
All these questions that he's going to get hit with 1,000,000 times now. Yeah, totally fair.
Yeah.
Toby asked the right questions.
I would not be surprised if season 3 we see a ton of MS stuff come up.
Right.
A ton. Because I don't know if Hoynes is... So we've already set up. Hoynes knows.
Right.
I wonder if that means that, like, whenever he does run, which I think it's pretty clear, Hoynes is going to run.
Hoynes is planning on running anyway, yeah.
So whenever it comes down to the election process, he's going to have to find a new VP.
Right.
And then he's probably going to have to deal with Hoynes bringing up the MS situation.
Oh, it's going to be hit with it in as many ways as possible.
And he even said Hoynes was in the situation room whenever Bartlett was down for the count. Who was it? It was Leo making the decisions.
I wonder
if Hoynes deferred to him.
The way you kind of mentioned that with Hoynes, you're right.
Yeah.
But the way you say Hoynes will, I don't think I think, politicians are more savvy than that. I don't think someone brings up the MS as much because you're like punching a sick person
Yeah.
as much as you're like, boy, am I healthy. Look at me play basketball and run on a
Yeah.
track and,
We,
play.
we, we
You know what I'm
saw
talking about?
Hoynes jogging.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
I'll have press conferences where I'm out like running around,
yeah.
just to juxtapose that. Like
Well,
I'm the healthy
it's
candidate.
it's so funny because we're kind of seeing that now. Even like I
Oh,
think like
sure.
was it like Robert Kennedy Jr.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that joke of a human being.
he's
Yeah.
he's like working out with his shirt off and stuff.
He sucks so much.
So like
Sorry, RFK Jr. fans, but he sucks so much.
he's out there for sure.
Yeah.
And but I think you're right. I think we're going to see that with Hoynes.
Oh, because he'll have he'll have the press all around him answering questions while he's like on a
It's
treadmill.
like dunking basketballs. It'd be
Exactly.
amazing. Actually, honestly, it'd be hilarious if there's a presidential candidate dunking basketballs on TV.
Right.
Vote
Parks
for
and
that
Rec.
guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But no, I think that even though he might not outright say it, I think that he has it in his back pocket. They know
It's gonna be there, right?
and a lot of other candidates are going to use it too.
All of them will on some different level.
Yeah, ones that don't
Make
have
the healthy choice.
It's a slogan.
Drink milk and vote for me.
This president is eating green beans. He's
Yeah,
got
right,
MS,
yeah,
you know.
exactly.
So he's got a lot stacked against him.
Yeah, I feel like we still have obviously several episodes. I mean, we're getting closer to the end of season 2. We're not terribly far at the end of season 2, right?
No, we're not.
So I
20 episodes.
22 or 23, I
Okay,
think, for this one.
I gotcha.
Somewhere between 22 and 24. I think it's 22. At any rate, I feel like we're setting up season 3 to be a very interesting campaign season up through the election
Yes.
season, right?
Yeah.
Because let's face it, in the real world, that hardcore campaigning election, it lasts a little longer than a year
Yeah.
now. But I bet that it's going to be at least that season. It's going to be a whole year of him running for re-election.
Yeah, and the brief times that we have seen Hoynes this season, it seems like he was in play. He was making moves. He's doing a lot of things. So like they planted the seeds of this pretty early on. I mean, even in season 1.
Yeah, remember there were speeches he didn't want to give because
Yeah.
it was going to hurt his presidential chances down the road.
Yeah.
So Hoynes is always thinking about himself in the future and becoming
Sure.
president.
And
He's said that to people.
I called him a bit of a snake earlier, which maybe that's not fair.
He's a politician.
He's a politician,
right.
Which
can be pretty snaky, of
Yeah.
course.
But no, I mean, like, he's not doing anything malicious, I feel like,
Right.
especially if he's out for it for the American people. Because
Sure.
a lot of people could hear this news and think, okay, we were lied to.
Right.
So I think the best bet is Bartley needs to jump on this grenade. He needs to put it out there immediately and be like, this is what I'm dealing with.
You decide. It's going to have to be the public decides. You know what I mean? It's going to have to become public news.
They can't keep it private any longer, especially if he's going to run again. If he's going
Right.
to announce another run as president, he can't.
They have to know. That can't be a secret.
Because then Hoynes is going to see that and be like, dude, what?
Right, yeah.
What happened to one term, you know?
I got to wait another 4 years to try this?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
so-
a long time.
It is a long time. It's a very long time. And like you said, 17 people. That's a lot of people, man. That's a lot of people.
Someone will eventually leak it, kind of.
Doctors. I mean, any concerned citizen. I don't know. If it came out today the president had MS, how would you feel about that?
Honestly, I would research MS pretty hard. Like,
Yeah.
well, what does that mean for us? As callous as it is, it's like, dude, you've got
What does it mean for us? Is a
I'm
great
sorry, but
question. You have to be able to do the job.
You've got the most important job in the country.
Yeah.
As far as singular job. I would like to know what the potential of that going completely wrong is,
I mean, even signing the piece of paper, like Toby said, you need
the
to
message,
have a
right.
contingency plan. You
Yeah.
have to have some kind of backup to make sure that
That's what Toby's right. They were running without one as a means of covering it up.
it's a little scary.
It's a little sketchy too.
It's a little scary. It is. And
I'm excited to see how they do this.
we like Bartlett so much. That's
Yeah,
the
for
thing, right?
sure. He's a great president.
And it's weird when he's in a position where he's clearly in the wrong and he's kind of being stubborn about it.
Yeah, this isn't the first time where he's kind of
No.
been on the wrong side of things and tried to shout his way out of them,
Yeah.
which is human nature, and it's human nature for a guy that's that used to being in command of everything
That's the
to
dinosaur
always
in him.
being right. Yeah,
Yeah.
He's an old school Catholic
Stubborn
grandfather
guy, yeah.
who's been successful at everything he's ever done. So of course, when he's challenged, there's going to be times where he loses it a little bit.
This might be the most important thing he's had to face.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll see going forward. And
And it's just great writing.
I do think he'll come around because I think when he said, Toby, I'm not gonna apologize to you.
Right, and then he did.
Like
right.
2 minutes later.
He's like, I
Not
really
even
am
a
sorry.
minute later. I'm sorry. So I think that's him kind of accepting and
I
recognizing.
was like,
what he's gotta
you do owe an apology.
So
Um,
you guys are right, man. Like this show is zooming. It's
Right.
flying. They got the foot on the gas, and we're going towards. I'm assuming a great finale.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. And I will say this before we go. One last thing: the performances in this episode of Richard Schiff and Martin Sheen,
And heck,
and
even
even John Spencer.
John Spencer.
The performances in this episode, when it was such a tough. I mean, it almost felt like what they were doing in that room almost felt like a Broadway play, right? Like they were doing a play.
It could be.
You know,
I think it could be. Sorkin's got experience in that.
they were in a pretty tight room
Mhm.
doing some pretty intense acting, and I really feel like they just crushed it.
Honestly, I don't think there's been a better case of chemistry between actors.
A great ensemble cast work, yeah.
But between Martin Sheen and John Spencer, their chemistry is unreal.
Yeah.
You'd buy them as friends in real life, honestly.
Of course.
So,
Yeah.
for our money, best show on TV.
Catch you in the next one, guys.
See ya.